Hello everyone, roll over here. Welcome to my first video. Now I'll be playing Epic 7, which is a mobile game that I played since global launch. Now I'll be talking about the recent event that showed up, and I'll be talking about the new banner, their newest banner, Kise, and its accompanying artifact called Alexa's Basket. So without further ado, let's jump right on it. Alright, let's start this off with having a look at the newest added character, Kise. Now, if you're not familiar, Kise is, well, used to be the leader of the Nocturne clan before she disappeared after the war. Now, Kise's skills, her first skill is a single target damage, which increases if the target has a barrier. Her second skill is an AoE skill that penetrates defense by 60% if she has stealth. Her last skill is a high damage dealing skill that increases the target's skill cooldown by 2 turns and gives her stealth for 2 turns. The damage is further increased based on the proportion of her current health. So what this means is that if her health, well, the more current health percentage she has, the more damage she does. Now, the application of Kise, she'll be really good in PvP, primarily because of her, well, there are two things. One of them is her third skill, which increases the skill cooldowns by 2 turns, and her first skill, which deals damage if the enemy has barrier. Now, most heroes in PvP, they have Dien or Armin. Now, she will do more damage when they use barrier. She's also good at PvE, primarily because, especially boss, because she penetrates defense when she's stealth. Also, the fact that she penetrates defense means that you don't really need a hero that applies a defense break, and it's good for people who doesn't have heroes that applies defense break. So instead of defense break, you can just use defense penetration. Now it's not really efficient to have both hero who has defense penetration and defense break, because defense penetration ignores defense by 60%, and defense break reduces the defense by, I think it was 50%. So if you have both of them in one team, if you apply defense break on a monster and you use this, defense break reduces the defense by 50%, and when you use this skill, it ignores 60% of the 50% defense the monster has. Not really efficient. I mean, you could use other heroes, like support heroes who heals, rather than have the defense break. So overall, she's good if you don't want to use defense break. The other hero who I know who has defense penetration is Ludwig. If you compare Ludwig to Kise, Ludwig's requirement is much harder compared to Kise, because Ludwig's penetration effect triggers when he has an invincibility buff. Now, Ludwig has a skill that gives him invincibility buff, but it requires him to kill an enemy. In Kise's, and also in Ludwig's case, there's not a lot of characters that gives invincibility buff. The one that I know of is Akates. In Kise's case, her ulti gives her stealth with no requirements. And the 5-star artifact Windrider gives her stealth if she kills an enemy. So it's easier to pull off the defense penetration on Kise compared to Ludwig. Other thing I want to show is, so for every banner, there's also an accompanying artifact that goes with it. And in this banner, the artifact is called Alexa's Basket. Now Alexis's basket has a 20% chance to grant increased attack and critical hit chance for the caster for 1 turn at the end of the turn. Now at max level it gives 40% chance. Now this is it's thief exclusive artifact. In my opinion, I think this is good for heroes that have extra turn built in their skills, such as Karin or Sid. Now in Karin's case, Karin relies on hitting critical hit chance, but it may work on her, but not as much compared to Sid, because Karin needs to have high crit hit chance so she could use her additional effects on her skills. Now, this skill gives increased critical hit chance by 40%. But in Karin's case, you always need to have high critical hit chance to make sure that her skill, she gains additional effects from her skills. In Sid's case, you would build Sid. Generally, people build Sid with speed set and critical hit set. In his case, you may not have enough critical hit chance for him to always crit, so this would be a good artifact for him, especially since his third skill, whenever he kills an enemy, he gains an extra turn. An extra turn means more chance of this artifact triggering. So yeah, there might be other thief class heroes that goes well with this artifact, but the ones that I think would, right now, that I think would benefit most is Sid. Alright, let's have a look at the event Sidestory. The latest Sidestory is called A Prayer to the Waxing Moon, and there are 2 things that you have to do, as with all Sidestory events. And one of them is to complete Reputation Quest. Now, Reputation Quest gives a lot of rewards. One of them is Leaf, which you can use to buy stamina or labyrinth passes. The other one is Silver Transmit Stone, which you can use to buy Molagora every week. And lastly, it gives you Covenant Bookmarks, 10 of them, which you can use to pull 2 summons. Now the other thing that you should do is clear out the shop. Now whenever you finish an event stage, you gain event currency, which you can use to buy lots of goodies. Now this particular event is very helpful for people who don't have Yuna yet. All of this is a requirement to complete Yuna's quest: Blazing Soul, Ultra Fang, and Twisted Fang. As you can see, I'll show you in Yuna's quest. So Yuna needs 6 Ultra Fang, 6 Twisted Fang, and 3 Blazing Soul Catalyst, all of which are in the shop. Now, in the shop, you get up to 2 Blazing Soul, 4 Ultra Fang, and 4 Twisted Fang. So that's around 60% of the required catalyst you need to complete Yuna's quest, especially the Blazing Soul, since Blazing Soul can only be obtained from a specific stage in world difficulty, and the drop rate of this catalyst is really low. So having to be able to get 2 of them only leaves you 1 Blazing Soul to farm, so it saves a lot of stamina and time. With Ultra Fang and Twisted Fang gives you 4, which means, that leaves you only 2 of each catalyst to farm. The shop also gives you other good stuff, such as Molagora Seed. Gives you 5 Covenant Bookmarks with a total of 15. And gives you Greater Artifact Charm. So yeah, so all of them are good, and it's recommended to clear it before the event ends. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about is farming. Now Sidestory is one of the best place to farm, and for this particular event, I recommend that you do stage 10 or stage 4 in world difficulty if you can. In stage 4, the reason why In my opinion, stage 4 is better in terms of, farm because of the catalyst drops. If you're a relatively new player, it's better to farm catalyst in this stage because it gives you Ultra Fang, which you need to complete Yuna's quest, Eternal Forest Dust, and Sharp Spearhead to get Commander Lorena. Now in stage 10, there is one that you need, which is Catalyst Fan if you don't have a Yuna's quest. Sidestory is generally better farming wise because the enemies here are much weaker compared to adventure stages. For optimum farming, you would need at least 3 fodders and 1 really strong DPS. Any AoE damage dealers is good. But if you have a really good friend in your friends list, then you can have all 4 fodder and rely on that support to clear the stage for you. And that's pretty much it for what you should do for this event. And yeah, if you don't have Yuna, I highly suggest that you do this event and get the required catalyst for her quest. Well, that's it for today for my first video. Thanks for watching.